You know, I've been good Monday morning. In last week's video, I talked a little bit about how the best communicators that I know, they spend a lot of time listening to their audience, spending time understanding them, and only then they craft a message that is customized for their audience for maximum impact. So in that video, I talked about how to be a good sender of a message, and today I would like to talk about how to be a good receiver of a message. I am your host, MPJ, and you are watching Fun Function. Today's show is sponsored by Pusher. Pusher makes it painless to add real-time communication and collaboration features to your app. Chat, pub sub, mobile push, feeds. That kind of stuff. It's really nice to not have to build all that yourself. Check them out at pusher.funfunfunction.com. Alright, today's subject. I really just have one thing to say, and I'm gonna say it, and then I'm going to just ramble on about that thing. When you are communicating with another person, interpret everything that person says as generously as you possibly can. Interpret generously. That's really all I have to say. That's the core of this video. This is one of those things that is going to sound infantile, but it's so easy to forget, and people forget it all the time, and so much problems in our current debate climate is because we forget this very simple lesson. When you're discussing something with someone, assume that that person is good, not evil. Assume that the person means well, that they don't want to do you harm. If the person is on your team, assume that the person wants the best for your product and the best for your team. Assume that what they're saying is coming from a good place, like a good intention. This doesn't mean that there aren't people that are out to do you harm, or that like people that are just horrible and just want to like pour their pain on you. But if there is even a shadow of a doubt, like when you read something or hear someone say something that it might still be coming from a good place, you should try to interpret it that way. Your default should be assume good intent. We will get to the why later, but just let's think about an example. Someone at work tells you this code of yours is shit. That's a total caricature. Nobody at work would say that. He is from Sweden. Okay, fine. They would passive-aggressively say, I don't like this code of yours. So that's a very badly formed message. It's not constructive, it's vague, it's kind of rude. In this situation, like most normal people, I certainly know that I would probably feel like attacked. I would feel like, oh, this person is making me feel bad. I would kind of, like, my impulse would be to get defensive, and that's normal. And the problem is that now I have this excellent opportunity to like jump up on my big high horse. My high horse of justice. And then I could tell this person like how bad they are for not being, you know, like cuddly or like polite. They should go watch that video by that YouTuber about politeness and clarity, how they're not mutually exclusive. Pfft. You should work on your emotional intelligence, dude. Be considerate of your colleagues' feelings. They've said something wrong and now I can pounce on that. I could do that, and you know, it would probably work. The other person would probably feel really bad about it and apologize to me. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to. But I could also, as a receiver, stop myself a little bit and I could think like, okay, this message that I'm receiving here, it's not the best formed message, but this person sending me this message, they're probably not ill-willed. This is not about me, it's not about them wanting to hurt me. They probably just want the product to be good and they want the team to do well. Their messaging isn't very good, but as a receiver of the message, I can actually compensate for a badly sent message. A bad message, I can just be a good receiver. It's just like when somebody throws you a ball and they're a little bit off, but it's still in my direction. So I can still like jump and catch it. Maybe I have to throw myself on the ground, worst case, but I will still catch it. I might, like breathe a little bit internally and then go like, okay, tell me what you didn't like about it. I'd love to hear it. And the person might give me some perfectly valid critique. It might be that they say that, oh, I didn't like how you start introducing state here. It just feels completely unnecessary. You don't really need to do that optimization. And I might go, oh yeah, you are actually completely right about that. This is not necessary. Thank you for pointing that out. By the way, you seem a little bit off today. Are you all right? And they might go like, oh no, my cat Fluffykins, he just died. I'm sorry for snapping at you. I'm just a little off. Oh, that's such a nice story. Yeah, that's cuddly wuddly. Have you ever been on Twitter? There are absolutely people out there that they just say things because they are out to get you. They are not on your side. Alright, we need to separate things here. Like, you're conflating two different things. Twitter, that's one thing. And a private discussion forum or work or something like that, that's a different space. So by mixing those two together, you are conflating debate and discussion, which are two different things. A discussion, that's something that you have with a friend, with a colleague, or perhaps a private forum. A debate, that's something that two politicians have. They do a battle, that's a fight. When politicians talk, they want to win over the other person. None of the debaters expect to change the other person's mind. No, their goal is to convince the audience. When you have a debate, your opponent they're just a tool to kind of like have a soundboard in order to change the mind of the audience. A discussion is very different. In a discussion, the objective is that both parties win. A discussion is only really resolved successfully if both parties found it rewarding. There are several different ways a discussion could be rewarding. It might be that you learn something from each other. It might be that you figure out the solution to a problem together. Or it might be that you communicate your respective wants and needs, and you find a way to have them overlap and find a situation where you both win. So a debate that's resolved by someone winning, while a discussion is resolved when both people win. In a debate, the core tool is rhetoric, but in a discussion, the core tool is understanding. So why is this important? It's important because this is how, at least I believe, or at least it's one of the tools of how we achieve psychological safety in a team. Psychological safety is the concept where people feel like they can talk unhindered. They can say that something is bad. They can put forward critique of the team's performance or other team members to a certain extent. And they can also say that, hey, I didn't do too well in this situation. I will do better next time. And you can do these things. You can give other people critique, and you can be vulnerable as well without fear of retribution. Like other people jumping on you because they feel attacked, or them jumping on you because you show vulnerability, like saying yeah, you're horrible, you should quit the team because you made a mistake, just because you admitted one. And this is actually just not cuddly-wuddly things. It's very, very important. Google found in their research that this is one of the core predictors of the performance of a team. I've made a video on that there. And it makes sense when you think about it, because if you don't have this psychological safety, it means that information will not flow in the team as freely, because people will just be afraid of putting critical information forth. And that is why it's so important to have a team where people make an effort to be good senders of messages, like understanding the needs and where a person is before like crafting the message. What is it that the team wants, and how do I put a message forth in the best way possible? Do I understand them? And it's also important for the people listening to this person to assume that this person says these things with good intent. But will a team member always have this good intent? Well, in some cases, maybe not. I think that you need to have a certain transparency in a team in order to build this. You need to talk about, like, sit down and talk about what your different wants are. Like, are you actually on the same page when it comes to the product? If you have that discussion and come to the conclusion that you have the same goal and you are on the same page, then it's going to be a lot easier to interpret generously for people. And finally, I of course want to stress the obvious, that if you have a person on your team that is a bad communicator, as in a bad sender, that is just always like this person, then the good receivers should absolutely not perpetually make up for that person's sloppy thrown balls of that's not what I mean here. Like, if somebody is repeatedly being bad at sending messages to their team, then you need to take that up with that person, make sure that that person improves, or if they don't, find another team, because that's not sustainable. The point is merely that not everyone is a good sender all the time, and try to therefore interpret as generously as you can. And yes, if somebody sends a bad message, try to be a good receiver if possible. That's my thoughts on that. What are yours? Are you a good receiver or sender? Or do you have one on your team? A bad one or a good one? Let me know in the YouTube comments below, or if you are a patron, you have access to the fun forum, the lovely place where you can talk to your fellow viewers or me. There's a link to a dedicated topic for this episode in the episode description. Don't forget to check out our lovely sponsor Pusher at pusher.funfunfunction.com. And that is it. You have just watched an episode of Fun Function. I release these every Monday morning, 0800 GMT. But you will forget that, so you should subscribe, maybe even turn on notifications in the YouTube app. Or you can just watch another episode right now by clicking there. I am MPJ. Until next Monday morning, stay curious.